Alright, hello my friend. Okay. Hello my friend. This is your reading this Saturday, the end of March sometime. I don't know what the date is. But I do know very brief outline of what's happening in your world at the moment. You've asked for a general reading. I'm going to do a horoscope wheel. We'll have a look at where everything is right now. And then we'll have a look at where everything is for the year ahead. And then if anything interesting comes up from that, we might do just a little sort of zoom in sort of reading at the end there. So I'm just going to give these guys a little shuffle and just defrag my brain for a second. Let's get these guys moving around. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Let's have a look. Oh, I'm not a very elegant shuffler. I need to take this ring off because I don't normally wear a ring. Okay, let's go. A little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. Cut. Actually, let's start from here. Okie dokie. We've got the Knave of Pentacles, the Tower, the Knave of Cups, Magician, that's nice. So some knaves, some young energy and some messages coming your way, new pathways. Tower, totally pulling down your material reality and starting again. Deconstructing all those illusions, beginning again on the material plane there. The Magician, you have everything you need inside of yourself to pull off some great feat. We've got the Eight of Batons here. Oh, okay, and the Eight of Pentacles. Some real sort of mastery around your energy and around some great mastery, stability around your well-being that you've had. Okay, we've got the Hanged Man, so a new perspective in your relationship zone. We've got the Two of Swords. So we've got a choice, a new decision, building something up from a duality or a choice here in terms of rebirthing, new ideas. We've got the Nine of Pentacles. So this is like an opportunity for you at the moment in terms of where you're at regarding your expansion of your awareness, your mind, your learning, your higher self. It's an opportunity for you to just take a little time out and look back at what you have learned in the past, particularly regarding your communications around your emotions and connections, especially with people who have been in your life a long time, since you were relatively young. Got down here, and somebody who's like less mature than you. You know who I'm talking about. The person who you think it is, I'm sure it is. We've got the Eight. We've got some eights going on here. Eight. We've got 3 8s. That's interesting. Okay, so definitely you're not new to this. You've kind of the situation that you're in now, in your life right now, you've actually acquired, like, you've been through an apprenticeship of sorts, and you're definitely a master in terms of energetically, like with your activity, your endeavors, also with your material world, and with your mind, your ideas, your ability to think and strategically act. Okay, and people see that in you. You're known for that. Okay. All right. What do we got? 5. So we do have some change coming up around your ideas and your ideas to do with your network, social networking, and the people around you are going to introduce you to some new ideas too, which is going to shake up your foundations a little bit, which is nice. This is in your social area. And 7 of Pentacles. Okay, so you have had success on a material plane, and right, that's interesting. You have had some success there, and that has been sort of your self-undoing, a little bit of self-undoing. So that's in that zone. Just let me have a little look what we've got here. So if we're going through this as the horoscope, we've got the house of you, your ascendant, second house, which is the house of your material, what you own, like everything that you own, including your body, like it's your material zone, your income, your wealth, your goods. We've got third house, which is the house of siblings, people that you've known since childhood, like since you were younger. It relates to communication, but communication like on a like short, snappy communication, like not like deep, broad, in-depth communication. Fourth house is the house of your family, particularly your parents, but also like your inner world and your lineage, everything that you're connecting to in your ancestry. This is this house here, which is great. I really like this here, the Magician here for you. We've got the 8 here, which is in the 5th house, which is your house of creativity and children, your creative output. We've got the 8 of Pentacles here in your 6th house, which is the house of what you do on a day-to-day basis. It's also the house of it's traditionally the house of slavery, like being a slave, which is why it's now associated with health, your health and like what you do on a day-to-day basis, that kind of thing. 7th house here, which is the house of relationships, intimate relationships, and here we've got the Hanged Man, which is a new perspective around this, which I know is completely relevant in terms of what's going on in your life. We've got the 8th house up here, which is the house of other people's money, but it's also the house of death and rebirth, complete revolution, which is interesting because you've got directly opposite this. Each of these houses kind of works with its partner, so this is you plus your partner, like they work on the axis, which I know you know in terms of horoscopes. So it's interesting that in your house of rebirth you do have on the axis the Tower card, because this is really a point in your life where you're everything that you thought was secure, stable, or in motion has completely dissolved. Okay, and it's all just come apart in quite a whether you wanted it to or not, whether you saw it coming or not, it's fallen apart. And so now you're faced with this kind of crossroads as such. It's a mental crossroads for you. So this feels as though it is like probably a real head fuck. And it is like you've got a choice here. You've got a choice around how you're going to go about working into this new rebirth period. Are you going to embrace it, or are you going to just sort of fall apart a little bit, you know what I mean? And then we've got the 9th house, and you've got the 9 of Pentacles up here. The 9th house is traditionally the house of God, and when we say God, we're talking about like the higher realms. It's also the house of the Father traditionally, but it's also the house of like higher learning, traveling overseas, people from overseas, because it's about really expansive like expanding your awareness and learning. So you've got the Nine of Pentacles there, and the Nine of Pentacles, every 9 card is all about like looking back on what you've achieved. You sort of like got through this huge sort of hurdle, you've crossed all these barriers, and now you're kind of looking back on things. So it's interesting you got the Nine of Pentacles up there, so we'll get back to that. The 10th house is the house of basically your kind of position in society, how other people see you. It's people kind of say it's your career, but it's more about what you're known for, or how you're known amongst your associates, or how you're known, and also like how you kind of play out on the world stage, which is directly opposite the internal, your internal self. This is more about how you really kind of appear on the stage. And you've got the 8 of Swords up there, so people really do see you as somebody who's quite thoughtful and quite intelligent and very adept at thinking things through, very good with solutions, very good with coming up with ideas, implementing ideas, and using those ideas to create really, really stable foundations. Okay, here we've got the 10th house sorry, the 11th house, which is the house of our networks, other people, our social life, and you've got a 5 of Swords here, which, as I was saying, 5s are all about change, shifting those foundations. So you got it looks as though right now in your social world there is a lot of change, there's a lot of new ideas. I like this card over there for you, it's nice. I like also that it's opposite the 8 here, because in this house where your creative output into this zone, it's really showing that you're energized, you are energized to put this out there, and other people are there for you. Like you actually have a great amount of knowledge, but knowledge in energy works, and knowledge in like just momentum, and how if you like put something into action and follow it through, like it can kind of like create something bigger and greater. And you actually you're very adept at that, and it's really good for me. Like I'm seeing this here right now, I like this this axis, because other people's ideas, like if you can tap into this kind of like your social network at the moment, you're gonna have, I think it's sort of looking as though you're going to have this really great sort of funnel, this kind of really great support. It's going to change how you've traditionally put your energy out into the world, but it's going to be like a really kind of, and it's a thoughtful change. It's a change around fundamental ideas. It's how you have traditionally operated amongst your friends and colleagues and your social groups, but it's a nice, I feel like it's really positive, it's a good change. And then the 12th house is the house of the 12th house is actually the house of because it's opposite the slaves, the 12th house is traditionally the house of hidden enemies. In sort of Vedic astrology and modern astrology, it's kind of associated with your karmic kind of what you're bringing in, like karmically, but it's interesting because it's actually the house, like if we're following the way that the sun goes around the horoscope, it rises here, and it's kind of like the house that's sort of following straight after the sun. So really this house is all about it's about sort of hidden enemies, but it's also kind of a little bit about your undoing, but what you've just finished and what you now must redress. So you have had success in the past. You have had like this material success. It feels like you have had like this nice sort of stable material foundation here, and I'm seeing that over here as well, and over here, because you've got like a few pentacles here, and they're higher order pentacles. So it does seem as though materially that hasn't sort of been a huge issue for you. You're sort of fairly comfortable in your material world, but there is and I don't really feel as though that's going to change dramatically. I think what's really changing for you at the moment is it's just like a fundamental shift in how you perceive it's a fundamental shift in how you're perceiving the world, okay? And it's a fundamental shift in like, well, I can't sugarcoat it. You have sort of like had this kind of like illusion that's been going on for a little while. It's like this illusion that everything's going to be okay, or this illusion, and I feel as though there could actually have been some sort of self-deception a little bit along the way here, because the Tower card often represents that you sort of built this up a little bit on kind of a false sort of reality a little bit. And I think that really where we're at now, because you have the Page of Pentacles in your house of self and who you are, and your psyche, your spirituality, your physical being. So the Page is quite a young card. He's a messenger, and he's giving you a new pathway. So right now you are in a new pathway, okay? Sorry, I'm just sort of like talking through this as I'm thinking about it. I'm just trying to assess why all these pentacles have turned up, and all I can really put it down to is that you have kind of mastered the material zone. I feel as though you've mastered like a physicality. I think right now what's going on though is that you have to kind of like, okay, I'm getting it. You've mastered this level of being embodied, and you've mastered this level of acquirement and attainment. But unfortunately, what you've kind of confronted now is that it was built a little bit on an illusion, okay? And it's fallen apart for you because it wasn't really, the foundations that were there weren't real foundations. They weren't authentic foundations, okay? It may have felt like that at the time. You wouldn't have gone on this journey if that weren't the case. You don't just sort of like commit to something for no reason. But what you're being shown now is that it was really fragile. It was it was like a paper tower, okay? It was really fragile, and it just wasn't really built to last, okay? And right now you're being given this opportunity. You're kind of standing at this crossroads where you've got an opportunity to just really invest in this new pathway, but investing in yourself now, investing in you, who you are, okay, rather than like investing in the people around you. This is more a time to keep this kind of energy for your own betterment, for your own embodiment, to build up your own physicality, to build up your own fortune, your own to build up your own to build up your own foundations, really, so that when you go into building again, it's more authentic to who you are. And I think that's why it's really important for you to see interpersonal relationships, particularly your intimate relationships, from a new perspective. And that might mean at the moment sacrificing this ideal of being straight into another relationship, okay? I think that's what these pentacles are about as well. You are right now in this learning phase and you are actually about to enter into this house, the 9th house. When your birthday happens in June, the 9th house is going to be activated, okay? And that means that for you, you are really at this point right now, at this age coming up, your age coming up, where it's really important for you to focus on learning new things, being open to new ideas, which is why this is a really cool card to have over in your house of networks, because you are going to be surrounded by new ideas from different people and new perspectives. I think what's really important for you right now, and I think what this is showing us, is that you need to reconsider how you're talking to people, particularly if people are coming to you kind of offering romance or offering, trying to tempt you to go down this pathway. I think this person from your past is still going to be very in and out with this, very persistent with this, trying to tempt you, trying to bring you back into your past and detract sort of distract you from like progressing into the future. This person is not as mature as you. This person is not doesn't really have your best interests at heart here. They're trying to lure you into this, and they're trying to take, you're ready to go on your new path, but this person wants you to go down their path, okay? And it's sort of a distraction for you, and it's going to be important for you to remember that you need to see both this person but also intimate relationships on a whole from a new light, okay? It's less about feeling as though you need to be in a relationship, and more about feeling as though you need to understand who you are first, as yourself, okay? Which might feel to you as though you're sacrificing something, but at the moment it's more important for you to be focusing on what it is in your past that that created this sense of security, and how that sense of security and foundation, what made that so fragile? What made that so vulnerable to falling apart, okay? What made that so susceptible to the situation where it is now? Because this person is not honoring you, and it's really I feel as though you're this year primed to go on this really big internal journey. I mean, it is the same for everybody when they turn this age, because it's cyclical, 12-year cycles, but with what's happening for you right now, and this opportunity for you to go down a new pathway and see things from a new perspective in terms of relating and relationships, I think it's really important for you. Just let me have a little look around here. It does feel as though you, all these 8s here, when you go back into this, as you kind of keep going with this, you're not coming into this from a brand new freshness. There's no 1s here. There's no 2s or 3s here. Okay, all of your cards here are sort of like from, I think the lowest we've got is a 5. Oh no, we do have a 2 over here, which is okay, but this is ideas, all right? In terms of energy and equipment and resources, you've got a lot to draw on. You're not really starting like afresh here, okay? So it's not, you're actually starting ahead of a lot of people, okay? So this is a really nice place for you to be, actually. It might feel a little bit confronting right now, but you're actually in a really good place right now. You have so many resources, you have so many ideas, you have so many experiences. These are your experiences to draw on, okay? You're like a master, and other people are at an apprenticeship phase still, but you've mastered this. You've mastered your psychology. It might not feel like it, but you have. You've mastered the physical realm, okay? You've mastered the intricacies of just being an embodied creature. I think right now what this is showing to you is just that there was a little bit of kind of entrapment in this kind of there was a little bit of an entrapment in this success almost, okay? There was a little bit of an entrapment in this success. And actually, it's not like a humbling. I don't want to say that right now it's a time to be humble, but it is a time to really reflect on not so much what went wrong, but on what you've achieved, what the outcomes have been, and really like what sort of separating the wheat from the chaff, what is useful and what is unnecessary. And I feel like you can actually use this knowledge to help other people. I really feel as though you can go into the community with this, which is perhaps what this card is. I feel like, because this card down here, the Magician's such a beautiful card and he's so resourceful, and I really feel as though this card is showing you that in terms of your family, this has been a really, yes, your mother and father, but also your whole ancestry, your whole line, okay? There's a resilience, there's a quickness, an agility of mind, a skillfulness. This is what you have deep within you, okay? This is a really deep, penetrating wisdom that you have, that you can kind of use and manipulate almost in any situation to get yourself through. Okay, so when you're feeling as though things are too much for you, or if you're feeling as though you're at a loose end, or if you're feeling as though this is just a shitty kind of incarnation and could things get any worse, I need you to remember that you are a magician, that you have brought into this embodiment a wisdom of, like, it's a generational wisdom. And it feels like if you take this new pathway, that's less about feeling the need to have an intimacy and more about recognizing, like, what you can give on a more global, or the impact that you can have on a more global. And when I say global, I don't mean like global, I mean more like diffusing this through the, rather than like focusing this just on one partner, it's more like diffusing this kind of brilliance and illuminating like your community and infusing other people with like your what it is that you've acquired, all this adeptness. Like, you're not you've been, like I already said, you've been through the stages of being the apprentice in many ways, like pretty much in all sort of zones of life. Okay, you have such a great gift to bring to people, and I think like people, or you may not recognize this within yourself, and I think that you don't recognize this within yourself because people associate you with somebody who's very, very intelligent, very considered, very thoughtful, very articulate, and very gifted in very mentally agile. And I think that you could actually, that you're actually in a position right now where if you can kind of make this sacrifice, it's going to feel like a sacrifice because your ego is probably telling you that you want to have some kind of intimacy again. But I feel as though what this is doing for you is bringing you into this place where you can just share what other people already know that you have, if that makes sense. I feel like it's like a time for you to just step into the template that's out there of you in the universe. And this is actually kind of a blessing in disguise, which is why even though it's an abrupt sort of disarming, and at the moment it's all a little bit, you're feeling vulnerable, like in terms of your income, and vulnerable in terms of your possessions and your livelihood and all that kind of thing. It's just like it's like when a bushfire just blazes through the bush, and in order for new life to emerge, and the life that comes from that is vibrant, and it's even more in contrast to the devastation around it, the vibrance is even more brilliant, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's just have a look through let's have a look at what we've got for the year. And I'm going to start, so we'll start in March, because we're at the end of March. Now let's start in April, because it's basically April. We'll start in April, and we'll go around to March next year and see what some kind of themes are. I feel excited for you because this doesn't mean that there isn't going to be a person for you to have a sort of dalliance with, but I think it's less about this kind of long-term traditional kind of partnerships, and more about like just having people serve you in that way. Like I think that really it's this time for you now. You're not in a place where you need to diffuse your focus by investing it in another person wholly. Right now, it's time for you to kind of just reflect on your strengths, reflect on the path so far, reflect on the ups and downs, identify the strengths, the weaknesses, the give and take, what works and what doesn't, and just see that for what it is, okay? Because the choice right now for you is, within this rebirth, is to create this new mindset. Almost, it feels like it's a new mindset for you. It's a new selfishness almost, but at the same time it feels like you're going to be called to use this to actually serve more people, but it's not going to feel so draining. It's going to feel as though you have more energy to do this, because you're not wasting your energy or channeling all your energy on somebody who's pulling you backwards. And even if it were another individual, I don't think there's going to be another individual who's going to sort of step into that anyway. I think that you will have opportunities to have in the community to just enjoy yourself. But I really feel like this at the moment for you is more about resetting yourself, and then you're going to actually do something in the community that's very surprising, very successful, very fulfilling for you. And people are just going to be like, wow, holy shit, that was really cool. Like, we knew that was there. Okay. Alrighty, so we've got the, okay, so you want to get going right now. You got the Knight of Pentacles, and you just want this to be happening. You want to go on a new adventure, straight up, okay? This is April. And it's going to be hard not to, but, and you do have the resources, okay? You are right now in this position where you're on a new pathway. It's a new embodiment almost, really. It's a new way of being in the world for you. It's a new pathway. There's news about this. There's messages about this. There's communication around this. And you're really resourced. You have support around you. But also I think it's just more that you're internally resourced, okay? And you're ready to get going with this. So by next month, you're going to have this sort of new infusion of energy. What's that for? Okay, so April, May. So by May, you're going to start to be mentally recuperating and laying some new foundations, and you're going to like have this sort of new mental platform to launch yourself out from, okay? So don't be, don't think that you're going to be stuck in this kind of frazzle. I think actually it's interesting because it's opposite this axis as well. So it does feel as though probably within the next few weeks, you're going to be able to sort of resolve a little bit of the mental conflict that you've got going on, and then by May it's going to it'll start to be consolidated. Like your ideas, your thoughts, they'll be racing less, it'll be less stressful and less hectic, and it's going to sort of like just even out nicely a little bit. It won't be exactly like, life isn't just going to automatically be, you're not automatically but it's going to resolve a little bit of this internal conflict, and it's going to feel, there's going to be less fear about your income and finances as well, and it's going to feel just more comfortable. Okay, so that's by May. By June, by June you are going to be using your resources really creatively. You're going to be talking about new ideas, but communicating around your communicating in a creative way about creating new, whether it's a new income or whether it's a new even a new house or something like that, a new living situation or something like that. By June, that's going to come into effect. It will include some communication. It probably is with this person who's just kind of exited. It will feel as though this person's still trying to lure you back in a little bit, but you are in this position where by June, which is your birthday, this it's really going to start locking down, where you're in this really self-reflective phase, and this just isn't going to wash with you, and you'll be able to like negotiate this to your advantage, or in a creative way that sort of resolves things to everybody. It's going to be tiring because the person that you're dealing with isn't going to like it, but you'll manage it. By July, we've got so things are really going to start happening for you. We've got the Knight of Wands. So whether you are just feeling really like you want to get things moving, again, you are resourced, and it's going to be probably resources here from your family. You're going to feel active. You're going to want to do things. You might want to feel like you might want to travel a little bit, go somewhere, do something, and your family is going to help you with that. They'll resource you with that, but also you internally already have the things that you need to manage that. You have the resources to get that underway, and it probably relates to this. It's going to be whatever it's people outside will recognize it. It's going to feel like a lot of internal work's happening, which it will be, because as soon as June hits, this is when this really deep sort of self-reflection is going to open itself up for you. Just a side note, if you can go with this, like, just be open to everything that comes to you. Don't shut things down because they're too outside the box, or because they're too uncomfortable, or they're too, like, you're not feeling as though, if you get an opportunity to go somewhere, do something, if someone asks you to do something, if there's invitations, if somebody wants, just accept everything, do everything you can, just fully immerse yourself in this learning experience, because it's going to you're going to be able to use it not just to help yourself, but I really feel like you're going to use it to help other people somehow. Okay, July, August, there could be this new, I actually want to say that there could be some like little new affair or something in August here. Okay, so that's nice. It probably will be, I feel like it's with someone that you already know, somebody who's already in your network, and somebody who you may have actually known for a while. It's just, I feel like it's just an affair, but it's going to actually excite new feelings in you, and this new sense of freedom and selfness. It's going to inspire like things in you that you'd almost forgotten about, or that potentially you haven't even explored before. It's going to feel really nice and exciting, okay? So that opportunity's out there for you in August. That's why I say if you get this, particularly beginning in June, if you get invitations to go somewhere, if you see like something advertised, like some like a workshop or something, and you think that sounds cool, go for it. Just do it. Be out there, okay? Just get out there, because there's a huge community energy around this for you, okay? And it relates to this new learning for you, okay? August, September, you've got a new activity coming in September. And it feels like I actually feel like you're just going to really start to be feeling good about things again, actually. Your well-being, your enthusiasm, it feels like there's going to be this new vibrancy, a new vitality around you. There's definitely like a new mindset coming in. Again, it's like this new kind of another sort of reset. It's spring. It's going to be, it relates to that. I feel like it probably also relates to this little affair or dalliance or kind of tete-a-tete that's going on with this person, and it's going to be just really invigorating and nice. It has like a real lightness about it, and it's sort of just really helping you almost turn a corner, it feels like, actually. Okay, the Star by, what was that? September, July, August, September, October. Okay, so in October, this is beautiful. The Star's such a nice card. Either somebody is going to give you some great guidance, or and what is this? It actually feels as though you're going to actually just really commit to following, you're going to really commit to following your, there's going to be such a nice sense of freedom that's coming up for you, such a sense of relief, almost, relief from the things that have weighed you down in the past, particularly in terms of your intimacies, because it's over here on this card, in this house. There's going to be such a, you're going to turn such a corner here, and I feel like it's going to be triggered by this little dalliance with this person. You're going to turn such a corner in your thinking. Your mindset's going to really change. There'll be a shift, okay? There'll be an ease. And then by what did I say? April, May, June, July, August, September, October. You're going to be more confident about just listening to yourself and doing things for yourself and making yourself feel good. It almost feels like you're finally going to have this reprieve from this person that's been weighing on you, and it's going to be like a real it's going to feel more authentic and deeper and more resounding than what it has been. It's kind of going to almost like become a little bit more entrenched within yourself, and you're going to actually be really guarded of that. You don't want to jeopardize that. You get to that stage where you don't want to jeopardize what you're beginning to build up for yourself, because what you're beginning to build up for yourself makes you feel really good about yourself, and it's connecting you back to your higher self. It's also connecting, I do feel like this is I do feel like this relates to also loved ones on the other side, your spirit guides as well. They're there for you, they're guiding you. And I feel as though because you're sort of like freeing yourself from the bonds of this darkness that's been around you, this murky energy, as the next sort of 6 months progress, you're going to be really, because you're sort of like eradicating that from your energy, you're making room for your guides to come in, for your loved ones to be more connected to you. You're going to feel really a lightness about it. You'll recognize signs from them again. You'll recognize when they're around you. You'll feel uplifted by them, and you're going to be really protective of that, because it's but also your higher self. Okay, you're going to be really protective of that, and I think that's why this new perspective and this new mindset is so integral to what's happening with you right now. Okay, November. By November, yeah, okay, so by November, yeah, you've got the Empress, and the Empress is all about succeeding in a man's world, and other people investing their faith in you, other people investing you with authority, other people recognizing that you are worthy of admiration, worthy of listening to. I really do feel like if you want to do something in the community, that you could actually probably turn into some kind of income stream as well, because it's in the 8th house here, which I think is what this freeing up is also good for. This freeing up of yourself from other attachments. It can happen for you. You can actually make that happen for you. And it's going to be more authentic, because it's not built on this this past kind of just rut, this attachment, you know. This is actually you building up for you, okay? And by November, you're going to see in yourself what other people see in you. You're going to recognize the greatness in yourself that other people already see in you. And that's just going to give you some confirmation that you're on the right track, and that this has been, even though it's been really difficult and it's been quite traumatic, obviously, you're on the right track, okay? And it's going to work out. It's working out. December. By December, yeah, okay, so just persevere. You'll just be persevering with this new emotional state that you've got going on, persevering with this self-reflection that you've got going on as well. It's not all going to be smooth sailing. It's not all just going to be it's not just like in all your self-reflection that it's just going to be this amazing period of wonderful, enthusiastic enlightenment. There are ups and downs in that, of course. There will be emotional times as well. By December, though, it's basically you're just getting the prompt to, it actually feels like on the axis here that by December, old mate's going to be like at the door again. Persevere, reflect back on what you've been building up over the past year. It might be a little bit of a test here. It might be, but just persevere with that. It could actually also mean that there's somebody... No, it doesn't. I think it really it feels like old mate's going to be like knocking on the door again, trying to kind of insinuate himself back into your world, because he actually is going to start recognizing that you're resonating at this different frequency, and he wants to kind of have a part of that. He wants to get a piece of that, because can't create it for himself. Persevere with what you've been building up, because you're actually building up something really solid for yourself, okay? So December, January. By January, there's going to be a shift. There's a change. There's a change up. There's an emotional change up with your relationships. There's an emotional what is that up there? There's an emotional. There's a change up here. Something's changing up. Just let me have a think about that. What's going on with that? There's a shift in some kind of relationship. There's a shift in some kind of relationship. feel as though it's actually a shift in your relationship with yourself. I feel as though when you confront this situation in December, you're actually going to come out the other side of that with a little bit of a shift. I want to actually clarify that. All right, so we've got the Hierophant, the High Priest. I actually feel like you're going to be, by January, you're going to be calling on guidance. And there is guidance around you from a man who is somehow related. There's guidance for you. It's coming from a man who, I feel as though it's a man related to you, literally related to you, who is in a position of like religious authority, and he will actually be able to give you some guidance if that's what you need. I feel like this situation that happens in December with old mate might actually throw you a little bit, destabilize what it is that you've been building up within yourself, this new confidence and this new sense of self. I think that's why we've gone backwards a little bit here in January, next January. It feels like he could actually shake it up a little bit for you. Look to this man in your family with some kind of religious affiliation. He can give you some guidance around this and some support around this, and it's going to be really helpful for you at that time. Okay, that's January next year. February next year. Oh, no, nice. You've got the sun. So the sun, okay, so we've got the sun in your zone. Oh, yeah, okay, so by February next year, if you haven't already begun like really getting out amongst your social network, it's time. It's really time. It's time to get out there, and I feel as though actually because you actually already will be doing that anyway, it feels like there's going to be just a new kind of social nurturance available to you, a new opportunity in the community, amongst your network of friends, amongst the wider community, for you to kind of really expose what it is that you've been working on internally for the last year. It's going to be this new opportunity for you to be seen in a new light and be seen for the work that you've been, the self-nurturing that you've been doing. It's going to kind of come to fruition. And I feel like that's actually when you're going to really be able to nurture other people as well, because you're going to have the strength after this little test in December and January. By February, you've got this opportunity to kind of turn that around, reinvest in yourself, recognize that actually I am the center of the universe, not other. I am the giver of light. I have this immense depth of energy to bring to other people, and it's available for you too from your friends, your loved ones. Okay, it's going to be this nice kind of give and take, but overall it's going to be an expansive period. Okay, and then in February, March next year, again, the Wheel of Fortune. So it's going to be the beginning of another new cycle. Okay, so whatever it is that's going on here, I think this little December kind of interlude is going to be tricky, and then by March next year, you're ready for you've been through this trial of this year, and it's the beginning of another new cycle for you. Let's have a little look. Okay, it actually feels like, so we're persisting with our finances, with our material world. I do feel like back here, this opportunity for you to somehow use what you have to create some kind of financial opportunity in the community, like a mentoring or some kind of guidance or something. I'm not quite sure what it is yet, But I do feel like this new cycle for you next March is just, it's just persisting with this new experience of being embodied, but also this new opportunity to kind of create your own reality as such, like this new reality that you're creating. Let's have a look at strengths. Strengths, here we go. The High Priestess, really nice. You're so intuitive. Okay, we already know this, and I feel as though this is actually related to your lineage as well. I do feel as though you have a really strong capacity within your lineage for not just intellect, but really intuitive power. I think that's why you've got the Magician here as well, and why up here you've got the Eight of Swords. So your strengths are basically, I do feel like you have some really very old souls helping you from the other side. Some very old energy helping you on the other side. And I feel like this relates to this card. It's not just in yourself, but I feel as though you have, and I think that's what this Star card over here is really excited about, because I think you've got an opportunity this year to tap into the other side, to tap into those spirits, to tap into your ancestor spirits, to tap into actually very old, wise, enlightened energies that are there to help you. Obstacles. All right, so obviously the obstacle is just this change. We've got the Five of Pentacles, which is just this change in your material situation, your physicality, your embodiment, your just the the mundane world. You're going through a change. Okay, that's the obstacle. And I think that your obstacle at the moment and this change is actually nothing compared to what you have inside of you to manage it and to navigate it. I think you're actually like, it's all I feel like you're already, like, if we conflate time as past, present, future, I feel like you're actually already past this. It's just like a matter of actually just doing the day-to-day. You've just got to actually play the game to get past it, but you're already past it. Opportunities. Okay, yeah, cool. So the opportunity is that there's going to be this... there's choice around you. Okay, you're kind of in charge of how you do this, really. Don't forget that the opportunity is that the choice is there for you to make this, to manifest this how you want it to manifest. That's the opportunity around you. Okay, let's have a look at the archetypal energy around you. The Sun. Okay, you're ready to shine. You're actually, you're ready to be the center of the universe. Okay, you are already the center of the universe. You just need to understand that you need to put yourself at the center of the universe, and when you do that, then the energy that you give out is more useful and more nurturing and more abundant. If you remember that you're the center and you maintain the nurturing energy for yourself, you actually are a more effective giver of light, which is, I feel, what you are actually being called to do. This journey is ridding you of a dark kind of, almost like an oppression. It feels like an oppression. It feels like an attachment. It feels like through this other person, you've actually got an attachment like a spiritual or like a negative, not a negative, but like a distracting attachment that's kind of feeding off your energy. And I feel like if you can just, as this journey this year progresses, and as you do this self-reflective work, and as you start to gradually rid yourself of the influence of this energy, you will find yourself in a position where you not only can shine greater, but I really feel like you're actually going to be helping other people around you, not just family, but people in your community. Okay, that's the energy there. All right, I think that'll do at the moment. I hope this has helped. Namaste. Talk soon.